How's it going, everyone? Scott MacKay here from PocketGraFX and MacKay Fine Art, bringing you another how-to video on my PocketGraFX stencil series. Today we're going to be doing a set of Vans sneakers. We're going to be doing a filigree style work with the Filigree Flourish template set, and we're going to do some detail work, making it look like it's a little carved in, and we'll also use the Pyro curve in that set as well. Because they both kind of work in conjunction. You can use one for the layout, another one to tighten up certain shapes. So you see how these interact together. So first we're going to show you how to mask these off to get it like this. Okay, what we want to keep the soles clean. I actually put the little Vans tab, I tape that up too. So we're just going to paint in here, and I'm going to show you quickly how I do that. So we have the regular pair here. We have this gold tape. This is by a company called FBS. This is their KUTG Gold. Super thin, rice paper type mask. Low tack, wraps around stuff really nice, especially canvases, cloth, and kind of oddball materials. Great on hard surfaces and metals and things, but I use it on canvas quite a bit. And for these, the nice thing about it, it closes up. Like when you get a wrinkle, it'll close up 100%, so you don't get that paint bleed through. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to go around the shoe like this, and I'm going to use my fingernail, or take a popsicle stick, and just get it in there. Wrap it around the shoe nice. Okay. Take our hobby knife with a nice blade. You don't need a lot of pressure here. You don't want to obviously cut through the canvas. I'm just going to go right in the seam. Just going to push down, and I'm just going to run through. Pull it through there, pick the edge. Say this tape doesn't take a lot of pressure at all, and roll it up. And get a nice, super clean edge. See that? Just kind of work it down. Then I work my way around the shoe, piece by piece. Okay, now this is the last piece pulling out. See how easy that was? Just went right around the edge. Make sure all your edges are down. Again, this tape works really well. You can use any masking tape of your preference. There are other brands that make similar tapes to this rice paper tape. What I like about this, it's semi-transparent. It works with water-based or solvent-based paints. So I use this on a lot of my motorcycle work as well as my fine art and obviously shoes. I'll go to this wide tape just to make it quicker. You know, tape as much as you want. You know, I'm doing this so if I spill paint, I won't get any on the lower sole. Just make sure all your edges are down. You're good to go. Both pairs are done. Again, you can take your popsicle stick or whatever and just get the edges tamped down really nice. And if you want, you can do the little tag too. And that's it. You'll have both shoes ready to go. Alright, and that's it. We are ready to paint. Let's go. So we have our PocketGraFX set. Open up the case, and we're going to pull out the Filigree Flourish piece, and we're going to pull out the Pyro curve set. Okay, I'm going to leave the rest in there because we don't need them today, but they're handy in case we think of a need for them. Right there. So we have the Pyro curve, and we have the Filigree Flourish, which has all these nice little curves, and there's a nice little how-to here on the packaging already that kind of shows you how I did this corner piece. So I figured why not do it on these Vans here. And these work together, so when you want to sharpen things out, these actually, a lot of these shapes match up to each other in the curves. So you can do the flourish, and then you can sharpen and crisp out things, positive, negative curves, and you could even bring in the negative of the whole stencil series if you needed opposing curves. So let's get started. I'm going to lay these two out. So for paint, what I'm going to do here, I have these already masked off. I'm We're just going to put one off to the side here, and we're just going to work on one of them. You know what? Let's do this one here. We'll do the right shoe. So I got 2 airbrushes for this one, mainly so I can switch between faster for the video. You don't need 2. You can do this with 1. I'm using 2 colors here. The first color I'm using, I'm going to bring a paper towel up here, it's a light gray called Neutral Gray number 4. This is 5004 from the Cratex illustration series. And I'm going to use this color to lay out everything. So I'm going to start with a lighter color. I'm going to build those tones. So always check your paint, make sure it's flowing good. Make sure you can do some nice detail lines, some nice even fades. Like I said, it's not coming off gravelly. You want it to come out nice and smooth. And this, I'm running this through my Iwata Eclipse gravity feed gun. This is my workhorse go-to gun. I use this day in, day out. For most of my work on motorcycles, cars, fine art, Euro work, this is the all-around. Another great workhorse. Yeah, this is kind of the entry-level gun, but man, it's a powerful gun. Use these a lot. These are available anywhere Iwatas are sold as well. This, I have my darker color in, which is going to be my detail color. And you can see, even this Neo, this is the Iwata Neo. I'm running about 30 PSI here, maybe about 35. My paint's reduced with about 5 to 10% reducer. In this case, I use what's called 4012, which is their paint thinner for the Cratex line. There's a few other ones depending on temperature. That's a whole different video. And I make sure, same thing, there's nice little fine lines here. I do nice even fades. I can do nice rat tail strokes. Make sure your gun's working, okay? Very important. Always check your gun, make sure it's all working. So, you almost want to do a sketch first. So I'm going to go in with a lighter color, and I'm going to decide which curves I'm going to use and which ones I'm going to continue on with. And we're going to go right around the shoe here and just kind of fill in this area with a radius around. So I'm going to start at the toe, and I'm going to use this curve here, which is a larger kind of flourish. And I'm going to mark the center of my shoe. I know that's center. I want to kind of mark it there. And I'm going to do this light. Now the cool thing is, if this gets in your way, like if you're going to come around the corner and you're going to run into this one, these are flexible enough. You can roll them back. Don't fold them, don't crease them. You can just roll them back. Hold it in place. And very lightly lay out your design, where it's going to go. If you overdo it here, you're kind of committed, so it's hard to change. So then what I'll do is, now I'm going to figure, maybe I'll have this next one will roll off it. I'm going to use this curve. I'm going to roll this back. Same thing. I'm just going to hold it in place. And I'm going to go off it. I'm just blowing a little bit of paint in there. I'm just registering it. See how now I connected that one to this one? And roll that out. Alright, I'm going to turn the shoe. If you don't see it too much here, it'll build. The key to doing work like this is you don't want to go in for the kill shot right away and make it super dark and bold. Because then you're committed. If I leave it light enough, I'm able to kind of refine and play as I go. Okay, that's what I really want to do here. I don't want to overdo it. So which I'm going to go? I'm going to use the same one I used from here. I'm just going to invert it this way. I'm going to fold it back. And see, I'm just finding that curve. The airbrush will actually push the stencil down. See that? You hold it in place and just lightly register it in. Not blowing a lot of paint, just enough. See that? Now it's just curved in just a little bit. Okay, one more. Let's bring in the flourish. like this. I'm going to hold it just like that. Like I said, if this is in the way, just roll it out. Just hold it away like that. Just roll in place. See, now I got this nice design. It's flowing around and go back in. I'm going to refine this out a little bit. The second pass. And just kind of get a plan for it. Very simple, very clean. I can even add, if I want to add a little, yeah, see this one here? So we'll use all pieces. This one here almost looks like a bud coming out. We're going to attach that to the second one I sprayed. The more you play with these, you'll get a rhythm going for how you want to use it. Every time I use them, it's different. See, now I got that design. That looks really cool. It's really simple, it's subtle. So by using that lighter color, this neutral grade 4, I was able to softly put this in. Okay. Now I'm going to roll the other way. Make this, you know, a symmetrical design. So this one here, I'm going to use all of this design here. And roll that out. Now this next one will come right out of it. So I'm not going to use this leaf this time. I'm going to stay away from it. And before you flip it over, and this is a good rule of thumb, because I did a little bit there, but it's fine because I'm going to be doing a lot of little detail work. Before you flip it, blow some air, make sure it's dry. Okay, you can clean it off in between if you want, but there's no really need for that. The paint does dry pretty quick. And just kind of figure it out from there. Lightly put it in. See, now I'm going to curve right around the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same curve. I'm going to bring this up into place like this. Run it right around. And for this one, I'm going to run right back to this leaf here because this is a shorter side. Make sure the cameras can see what I'm doing. I'm going to run this one right in. And we can continue this all the way around. I'm just going to stay right here in the toe for this how-to. Just stay up in here. And, you know, you could add more, but I kind of like the way this is framed out. It just looks like it's on the toe, and we're going to make it look like a nice piece by just building it, and we're going to darken some of this up. And maybe we'll make a little bit of the stone look to it, almost like it's been chiseled in. So we can do a little bit of what's called spattering or stippling. Couple ways to do it. You can bounce it off a popsicle stick, it kind of goes everywhere. You can pull the trigger back. I'll show you a little quick pro tip here. If you rock the trigger back, paint actually builds up and stops on the needle with a gravity feed brush like this because it's flowing in. And you kind of let it go back, and then just pull the trigger. Pull the trigger, and see it's spitting just a little bit. Okay, not much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cup my hand to keep it from going where I don't want it. I'll pull the trigger back. I'll pull the trigger. I'm just going to hit it. Pull the trigger, a little paint, hit it. Now what that's doing, it's spitting a little paint on there, and this is going to make it look almost like, you know, like stone stippling. Like maybe it's a piece of marble, maybe it's a little piece of granite or something. Again. And then we'll do some of that with the darker color as well. But I'm not going to switch that dark color yet. That dark color is going to be what I go in for the last. Now that I have my layout, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start darkening things up. I'm going to get a little closer. Now I'm going to get a little bit more control. So we went loose. And now we're going to start tightening it up. If you start this way, you don't back yourself into a corner and run into problems. If you go in too dark too fast, you committed too early and you can't really change it. So now I can go in, keeping in mind my light source is top down, so I'm putting heavier amounts of paint towards the bottom. And just coming off. I follow through, so even though I'm moving, there's no paint, there's just air right now. I'm pulling the trigger, getting a little paint right now, and then I'm off the paint, it's just air. And then that's how I'm getting that nice blend. So see how that little bit just brought that out? It's a great little effect. I'm going to go back through, and I'm just kind of going to mirror what I just did. Punch this stuff out. Darken it. Reshade a little more. So now see how it looks like this is flip into that one? I'm going to go here. Line up a couple points, make sure. The biggest challenge when you start out with this is registration. Make sure you're in the same spot each time. Especially on a three-dimensional object, it's a little tricky, so just take your time. I'm going to hit all the insides with this dark. I'm going to come out here and roll around. And I'm going to hit down here pretty heavy, so it gives a good delineation from this one to this next one. See how that just popped it right out? Yo, this is not just for doing this filigree. You could add this into portraiture, into backgrounds. You could do some really fun things with this set. Double check your registration. Gonna get nice and dark right in here. And I'm gonna pop in here and really get this tight. So I'm just bringing it out. And I'm going to work back to here. And I'm working backwards like this, so everything kind of stacks on each other. So now this one will stack on top of the first one. It's really dark. Pretty cool. Now, if you don't have to do this with an airbrush either, if you want to use like a stenciling brush and do that and kind of go in with a brush and then use this as a guide, just as a sketch, to go in with an actual paintbrush. So if you're a paintbrush person, you could use this a little bit for an airbrush, just put it in. Then you could go in with little details of the brush and go in and hit all those little things if you're not confident with the airbrush. I'm going to go in here and flip to this one. Around, get it really dark in here to the toe. I'm going to shade that right through there. It's a very light color, but on the white, it really pops off nice. So I want to get this crisp right there. So I'm going to go back to this one here and make sure we're good. That's going to roll. I'm going to kind of run to another stencil, so this is where I'm going to come in with my other template once I get around here. So let me go finish everything off and move on to the next one. Here. Darken everything up. Make things crisp. And go into this last flourish here. I'm going to go through, I'm just going to shade all around here. If you wanted to, you could make this look like marble by doing some feathering, and a feathering trick, or take a paintbrush and do some little cracks. With the airbrush, you can do some cracks. I'm not going to do that right now, because I think it's going to add a little too much to this. So now, I don't want to keep running to this same stencil, because I'm going to maybe start doing some things I don't want to do. But I want to pull this curve right here out. Okay? I want to give it some more delineation. So I'm going to use my Pocket Pyro. I'm going to go around and find a curve that kind of matches. I'm going to use that to sharpen that out. See how I did that? Just a little bit. Crisp edge. Find what works. And got it out. So now we have all this little detail in here. So I want to bring this one around and make it look like it's curved. this little, see this little inside ball? This one here is supposed to, you know, in reality will connect. But in the stencil, you need to leave the gap so things don't fall apart. So that's where this comes in. Now I can come in, I can find the matching curve. See how that line's right up there? And I can separate that and make that curve. I can bring this back in if I didn't get the detail and really get that detail. But I'll probably go in with the darker color. Now what I want to do is I want to separate this from that. So same thing, I'm going to find a curve. I'm going to do all this with this one color. This is my sketch layer. This is kind of my foundation. So when I get to the dark color, I'm just using a little bit. I'm not using a lot. I want to clean up this edge here. Okay, that's it. Just keep it clean. And I want to get this flourish, this little leaf right here. I want to really get that sharp. So when I get in here, I'm going to hold it in position. I'm going to get rid of that tip, and I'm going to follow through and just separate. See how that just pops now? I mean, that's really cool as is right there. You could leave it. I'm gonna start going through and just kind of punching out these little details. Like, watch, I'm going to separate this one from that one like I did here. So you can see that again. I'm going to find the curve that corresponds. Just got to hit that. This one corresponds with that. And this wasn't, I didn't design these intentionally to do that. Because they're common curves and things like that, they just would naturally work well together. Sometimes you just got to, you know, it's like finding a puzzle. You got to solve it and figure out what works for you. And go from there. Same thing here. I'm going to bring this one back. I want this leaf to curve into this one. Bring this around. And just find my way around. Figure out the puzzle. Because that's kind of what this is. You know, the one thing, the misnomer about stencils is you get a stencil, you're always locked into the same thing over and over again. And in some cases, stencils are designed that way, and they're kind of one-dimensional. The reason I did PocketGraFX is to have this multiple set, this essential set of all these different types that you can use together. And you can use this to this, this to this, and you can flip these around in any other way and just use a piece of it. You could use some bigger ones that are on the market, and then you use these for little details. You know, this comes in handy all around, whether you're in a big series or a small one like this. So let's hit this one last time. I'm going to fold this back. I'm not going to crease. I'm just going to roll it. See, I'm just rolling. I'm just kind of pinching it. I'm not putting a crease in it. The stencil material is very flexible, but if you crease it, it will eventually, it'll be permanent. You know, if you fold it over. But if you just kind of let it roll, it'll stay in position. With this inside curves, you can come in like this, and you can add so much dimension. I'm not going to get too complicated. I really like the way that looks now. I'm going to go with my darker color now and just be really selective what I'm going to do here. And this is out of my Neo. So again, I'm going to roll this back. And I'm just going to be more selective where I put this dark color. Okay, I'm just going to punch a little harder there. I'm going to punch a little harder. See how that just really brings it up? A little bit at a time. I originally started back in the day as a t-shirt artist, and if you saw a t-shirt artist, you know, everything was done very bold, very quick. So a lot of people assume that that's the way you have to paint. There's like solid, big, heavy lines right out the gate. It took me a while as an airbrush artist to kind of break that, but I eventually did. And you learn that less is more, and you just slowly build. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep working this till it's done. And just kind of watch it come together. I'll do a little freehanding at the very end, just to kind of bring it home. And you'll really see kind of the magic happen. that in position. Really get that nice and dark. Separate this in here like this. So just go through with your Pyro and kind of go over everything you did, but just very sparingly. Let it come together on its own. Don't try to force it. So you want to really bring, you'll see this right here. This would be a good one. This, I'll pop this right out by using the Pyro curve right here. So I'm going to separate this one from this one. Just a little bit of paint. And see, that just lets that roll around now. And I can bring this one in, kind of flip it, find the curve. I'm just going to keep shading and just wrap it up. As I'm wrapping this up, I hope you guys enjoy these how-tos. We're going to be doing lots and more, so make sure make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel here for Iwata, as well as go over to my FreehandGraFX channels and follow us on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. There's always interesting stuff happening, news, current projects I'm working on. I keep pretty up to date. I'm going to follow through here, right up. Really darken that up. See how as I darken it just slowly comes alive? Yeah, I'll push this one really, really dark. Gonna hit it the third time. See how that just separates like that? It really comes alive. So you can go in with brushwork and do any little details you want. If you're not comfortable with freehanding. I've been painting for 30 years, so freehanding is a little bit second nature to me. And I'm going to go like that. I'm just going to go in and just play. That's the best thing about creating. If you want to just take your time and keep adding, you can. Find things that work, figure out what you want to go over each other. And go in freehand, I'm going to darken that out. You know, I'm going to kind of put another hint of one, like it's way in the background. Right here. See that? Just that little bit. And if I want to darken up here, I can. I'm going to switch back to my lighter color and just add some more accents. Do some freehand. Make things crisper. Add more little swirls. Whatever you want to do. You can even add, you know, so I'm going to take this, put some freestyle. I'm going to come up and I'm just going to do some light swirls. Roll around. I'm going to bring this one right up like this. And you can even go in and add, sharpen things up like that. Give it some different levels. Just Make it cool. Make it fun. Make it your own. And if someone says, oh, use a stencil, doesn't count, well, they don't really know what they're talking about when they say that, because when you use stencils right and templates right, you can create a million variants your own way and put your own spin on it. Just by adding little techniques and little tricks, little brush work, little highlights, little things like that. Darken that in. And I think we're going to call this done. And if you think this was fun, if you try it on a harder surface like an illustration board or metal or gessoed canvas, you can really sharpen this up. The canvas shoes are a little softer. And I think we're going to leave it at that. So there you have it, guys. Here's a finished sneaker, all unmasked and clean. You see what that masking really cleans it up, makes it look really refined and cool. Hope you enjoyed this installment of PocketGraFX how-tos. Stay tuned for some more.